There's a lot of the same line of dialogue in this movie. I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me. I'm SirDinosaur from Planet X and now it's time for a movie review. First off, in case you didn't know, this movie takes place like before the first Star Wars movie, but after the Star Wars prequels, and technically it's after the Han Solo prequel movie, even though that movie is after the prequels, but before the first one. So it goes Star Wars prequels, Han Solo movie, this Rogue One movie, and then the original Star Wars movies. Glad that's cleared up. So there's a family that lives on a farm on a planet, and there's like nobody there except them. This Empire officer guy named Krennic shows up with a lot of stormtrooper type guys in creepy black outfits. He tells the farmer dad, Jyn Erso, that he wants him to finish some important project. Galen's wife shows up and says, "No way, you're not taking him," while their kid daughter hides in the grass. The stormtrooper type guys kill the wife and the kid runs away. She finds a hiding spot so the bad guys can't get her even though they look all around. I guess her parents made her like an underground bunker for this kind of scenario, since she knew where to go. It's like she was trained, which makes sense when you think about it. The Empire is a bunch of bad guys and you never know when they might show up and kill your parents. Then there's this guy named Saw Gerrera who shows up and says, "Come on, we've got a long ride ahead of us." I think he's like a family friend or something. Then we see that the kid is a young woman now. Looks like she's in jail. Whoops. Then we're at this trading outpost with a shifty looking guy named Cassian Andor. Then we're at another planet where this pilot guy named Bodhi who's been captured. Then we're in like a prison truck where the farm girl kid, who's a woman now, is being taken somewhere by stormtroopers. But rebel guys stop the truck and free her. Apparently her name is Jyn Erso. They ask her where her dad is and she says he's probably dead. The rebel leaders want her to find her father and get more info on the super weapon the Empire is building, which I'm pretty sure is the Death Star. The senator guy, Bail Organa from the Star Wars prequels, shows up, so Jyn knows it's important. However, one of the rebel officers tells Andor to kill Jyn's dad instead of actually rescuing him. Jyn goes to the ship. She meets a robot named K2SO who is put on her crew. Andor is also on the crew. We see that the pilot guy Bodhi is taken to Saw Gerrera. Then we see Krennic being given orders from the Empire general guy from the first Star Wars movie, and we see the Death Star in the background. Then it all comes together once we see a flashback scene where Jyn sees her dad in an Empire uniform with the Krennic guy there too. So Jin's dad used to be like an Empire engineer and then he was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that anymore," and he fled with his family until Krennic found him. I'm putting the pieces together, you guys. Jyn, Andor, and the robot go down to a desert planet and see that it's being guarded by a Star Destroyer. They meet a mysterious blind man named Chirrut Imwe while they're moving through town, but suddenly the place becomes a war zone. There's stormtroopers and a lot of pew-pew and even one of those walker vehicles that shoots at people. There's one point where the robot shows up, gets snarky, and helps them out. I feel like this robot is in between C-3PO and L3 when it comes to his personality, so he's a good amount of snarky, but not too much. Then the blind man, Chirrut Imwe, shows up and tells the stormtroopers to lay off. He's got a staff and he's talking about the Force, then he kicks the stormtroopers' butts with his staff and a lot of cool martial arts moves. I think he might secretly be a Jedi. Also, he's got a friend named Baze Malbus who helps out with the blaster. Then they all get captured by the rebels and brought to Saw with bags over their heads. Saw Gerrera says hi to Jyn. It's an awkward reunion. He's a lot older now, so she's all mad at him, and he's like, "Hey, people wanted to use you as a hostage against a former Empire science officer." Saw shows her a message from Jyn's father, Galen, saying that he secretly built a weakness into the Death Star. It's very emotional for Jyn, since it's the first time she's got confirmation that her dad is alive. Then Krennic orders a test of the Death Star, which blows up the city, so Jyn and the crew have to leave immediately. Saw stays back and dies though. The Empire general guy says, "Congrats Krennic, good job." That pilot guy Bodhi takes Jyn and the crew to a different planet to find Galen. Meanwhile, Krennic lines up all the scientist people and says, "Alright, who betrayed the Empire?" No one talks, so he says he's gonna have them all killed by firing squad. Andor is all ready to shoot Galen from afar, but he can't do it. Krennic has all the other scientists killed, but not Galen since he's the top scientist. Krennic wants to make sure the Death Star is complete. Some rebel ships show up and attack the place. It gets all crazy. Galen gets wounded and dies in Jyn's arms, so she and the crew escape on a stolen shuttle. What's up with these rebel forces not wanting to be transparent with the people who are doing things for them? Don't they want to win the war? How are they supposed to win if they go around making their own people mad? Seems like a bad strategy to me. Then Krennic shows up to say hi to Darth Vader, and our old buddy Darth is like, "Hey, what the heck is going on? Why are you screwing up?" And Krennic for some reason thinks he can ask Darth for an audience with the Emperor, but Darth Vader force chokes him and is like, "Request denied, shut up idiot. No more screw ups and problems." Jyn and the crew are back with other rebels now, and the rebels are worried that the war is going badly because of the Death Star. Jyn says, hey, we gotta blow up the Death Star, and the other people are like, nah, it's never gonna happen, or nah, it's a trick, or nah, the whole Death Star thing isn't even real. Jyn's like, hey, we gotta get the Death Star plans so we know how to attack it and make it go kablamo. The Rebel Council says, nah, we're not gonna help. But Andor approaches Jyn afterwards and says, hey, I believe you, and I've got a group of people that want to help. So they decide to steal a ship, get off the robot planet, sneak into the vault on another planet, and steal the Death Star plans. Bodhi gets them into the planet with the stolen Empire shuttle by improvising and saying that the ship is called Rogue One. Hey, that's the name of the movie! There's a lot of sneak parts where there's sneaking around off the ship and they're sneaking through the woods, and there's a lot of sneaking to do. Jyn, Andor, and K2SO get into the building in disguise while Chirrut and Baze hang out outside, but Krennic eventually realizes there are rebels trying to break in, so he sends stormtroopers outside to fight them. Meanwhile, the rebels hear what's going on and send forces over to the planet to help. There's a fun moment where we see C-3PO and R2-D2 as the rebel ships are gearing up to leave. Then it's looking bad outside the Empire base because the big walker vehicles are stomping around now and shooting at rebels, but the rebels are sending a bunch of ships to the planet to help out, but then the Empire closes a shield and blocks access to the planet after a few rebel ships get through. Jyn and the crew are trapped. K2SO explains that somebody has to get rid of the shield gate so the rebel ships can get to the planet and help more. Things start to get all crazy in space since the shield is still up and the Empire is sending like 100 ships at the rebel guys. On the planet, Bodhi is trying to get connected to a device that can transmit the Death Star plans to all the rebels. He gets interrupted by stormtroopers though. Inside the building, K2SO sacrifices himself to buy time for Jyn and Andor to find the Death Star plans before the stormtroopers inside the building catch up to them. As the robot dies, he tells Jyn and Andor that they have to climb up this tower of files to get the drive with the Death Star plans on it and transmit the plans from a tower above the building. Meanwhile, Krennic is getting very angry that things are out of control on the planet. Jyn and Andor get the drive, and Krennic is all like, I'm gonna deal with you guys myself. So he shows up and shoots Andor. Jyn has to go up to the tower by herself. Outside on the ground, everyone's all freaked out about the gunfire, so Chirrut says, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me, a lot, and he walks up to the switch and activates it unscathed. But right afterwards, he gets hit and dies. Now Bodhi is able to communicate with the rebels, so he gives them the update about the tower, but he dies soon after. Baze shoots a lot of stormtroopers and dies. Then Jyn and Andor get to the tower. Jyn puts the chip in the thing, but there's a problem with the transmitter, so she goes to check it out and fix the satellite. Back out in space, the rebels get 2 Star Destroyers to crash into each other. At the tower, Empire ships shoot the satellite control after Jyn moves it. She goes to hit the switch and send the Death Star plans to the rebels, but Krennic confronts her. He tries to be all like, haha, I win. But Andor shoots Krennic and he dead. Or is he? Jyn and Andor are pretty beat up and they transmit the Death Star plans, but the Empire General guy orders the Death Star to blow up the planet that Jyn and Andor are still on. Dang, all the main character good guys die in this movie. Darth Vader is on the Death Star now and he's mad, so he's gonna go on the big rebel ship and take care of business. The rebel guys on the ship in space get the Death Star plans. Darth Vader shows up and kills everybody, but a couple of rebels escape on a little ship with the transmission of the Star Wars plans. They give it to Princess Leia, the ship jumps away, and now we're all caught up with the original Star Wars movie as this movie ends. This movie is relatively good. It's a straightforward story about a group of people banding together, keeping hope alive, and turning the tide of a war. Pretty sure it's not for kids, since it's kind of grim and all the heroes die, but I'd say it's good for teenagers and non-kid Star Wars fans in general.